Hello, everybody. Welcome back to It's Time to Toss the Dice. We will be discussing The Wheel of Time through Amazon's Eyes, Season 2, Episode 6. As always, I'm Will,
I'm Lindsay.
and let's get started.
Hey everybody. Again, like we usually do at the beginning of episodes, we do not necessarily filter ourselves for book spoilers. So if you haven't read the books, maybe consider not hanging around.
Full, full spoiler warning.
Yes, full
W-
spoiler warning for all 14 books potentially.
Depending on how bad Amazon screws up, we will relate it back to the books and further on into the books and the ramifications that it
Yes.
brings. So,
Yeah, so we talked about it. We decided to change it up a little bit this time. We were going to talk about the episode instead of chronologically by story arc.
mhm.
So we're going to start with some of the shorter ones. Leandrin, Lanfer kills her son
Yes, a
and makes
mercy,
a comment
a
about
mercy
how,
killing.
yes, and about, she makes a comment about how he's not really alive and that Leandrin swore her oaths to keep him alive, which makes me wonder how long exactly he's been in that bed.
Uh, I think Leandrin said something in one of the earlier episodes this season about her son being in the 80s or something like that.
Okay. A
I,
lot of
I
people
could be
live in
mistaken.
the. I don't know how long they live though. Like the average lifespan in the Wheel of Time outside of. I mean, I know Aes Sedai and Channelers live forever, but
Well, not forever, but substantially longer than non-channelers. But I'm not sure if 80 is an old age. I'd assume that
I'm assuming
he
it's
was
old
probably.
age.
I'm assuming he's probably been kicking down death's door for quite a while now. But
Yeah.
But yeah, Lanfer
Um,
shows up, says you swear your oaths to keep your son alive. What kind of life is this? And
and she kills him, and
pulls
he's
pulls
like,
his life from his body, pulls his
"Sorry, I
life
killed
force.
him, but you can't undo your oaths. So maybe come play with me now."
Yeah, she made it clear you didn't swear your oaths to Ishamael,
Right
you
to
swore it to the
Ishamael,
dark.
or yep, and that even though the reason she swore is now dead, that's not still not undoable.
Hmm.
Which I like that little sort of reminder. I don't have anything else to say about that scene. Do you?
Uh, Landrin didn't put up much of a fight against it either.
Well,
She turned her head as her son's
I
life force was
mean,
being pulled from him, but there was no
she knows
fight.
that Lanfear's right, though.
She does, but you'd still
Yeah,
think that somebody who actually cared would have resisted a little.
it depends on how long he's been in the bed. If he's been in the bed for 20 years, or even
But if
5
she,
years,
but at that point, if it was time for him to go and she knew it was time for him to go, she could have done something about it as well.
she could have, but
So
she wouldn't
that's
have.
what I'm saying. If she wanted him, she didn't
Yeah, I
struggle
know.
against it much.
Anyway, moving on. We had one scene with Soroth
Hmm.
that I really did not like.
It was basically just introducing Loyal's tree singing, which we should have gotten
It
in season,
was.
which we
I
should have gotten in season 1 when he was in the Blight, which never happened in
well,
Amazon's
yeah.
story.
I honestly, part of what I didn't like about it wasn't even the tree. I thought the tree singing was fine. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it wasn't awful.
No,
But the and I mean, I'm sure that the Shantian do this in the books, even though it's never written. But like the lazy way that they were laying about, like eating grapes, kind of a thing, just didn't do it for me. And how Surath was very, I don't care about anything. Didn't
she was just in party
it just
mode.
Yeah, I did not like it.
She was
The
just
Shantian
vibing,
are
man.
never in party mode, ever.
She was just vibing, man. Just vibing.
Yeah, but they're not like that. They're like
I no, I
serious all the time.
they are. They're very uptight people.
They are. They're incredibly uptight. And to see them relaxing like that was kind of, I felt like it was awkward a little bit.
And especially after she basically had her eyes lowered in the previous episode.
True. Yes.
Like she had her
She should
fingernails
not.
cut off,
Yeah,
and she basically told her like, your eyes are lowered, which in the Shanshan is a huge deal.
huge deal.
Like your status just dropped immensely.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that yeah, no, that scene didn't make much sense. The only thing I took away is they were trying to introduce Loyal's tree singing, which you had
Yep.
your opportunity to do if you'd have followed Robert Jordan's story in season 1 when Loyal actually went to the Blight. But that never happened. He didn't go
Well,
to the Blight. We didn't get the tree singing.
oh
So
well.
they got to make up some bullshit to add it in now. And that's where
Yeah.
we're at.
I the Shan treat Ogier better than that also. So, but anyway, moving
They
on.
did call him Gardner though, so I mean they did show him a
They
little bit
did,
of
but they
respect, but
wouldn't
he
make
was
him.
still a servant. Right. No, I understand what you're
Uh,
saying. I understand what you're saying.
so Rand and Logain. The next little, because we only get one little scene with Logain. Um, I like how Rand kind of implies to Logain that he's not good for anything anymore except for teaching. Like, that was a little cold, a little brutal.
This scene bothered me.
It bothered me because Logain told Rand to surrender to the power.
That's one thing that bothered me is as we learned, like episode 1, Sidar and Satan are two completely different beasts.
Right. And
Like
women are
women,
supposed to surrender.
women who channel, no, they're supposed to embrace. He didn't say surrender. He said
Right.
embrace.
He said surrender
He
too.
did later, but
Yeah.
when women channel, they embrace
Right. And
Sadar.
it's an act of surrendering to it.
Right, and that's how it's worded in the books and everything is that they
Mhm.
embrace the one power. They embrace that portion of the power, which is how women are supposed to channel. Men have to grab a hold of Satan because
Right.
it's tainted,
It
it's nastiness, it's madness, it's all this stuff. Like it's not something you can just
well see,
embrace.
and
Like you have to grasp it.
I didn't really equate the grasping it to the taint. I thought it was just a difference in.
I think it has to do with the taint.
I don't think it does.
Like because they have to wrestle it under their control. If it weren't tainted, like I'm sure
No,
pre-baking.
I think it. I don't think it matters. I think that's taint or otherwise.
I don't think so because I think before the breaking, like when
Right, but
men
how was it
channeling wasn't.
after? Spoilers. How was it after it was cleansed? Do we know?
I can't think of how it was worded after that, honestly.
I think it's. I think it's. They always have to grasp it,
But
and it's a
regardless,
battle.
it's still grasping. Like at no,
Yes.
there's no embracing of the.
Right. There's no embracing and there's no surrendering. It's grasping and fighting.
Right, it's a struggle to maintain it. Like you have to active like women once they embrace Sadar, like it's theirs until they like let it go, and that's an act
Mhm.
in and of itself is them wanting to relinquish that power.
Yep.
Men, once they grasp Satan, is like a constant struggle to keep it under their control.
Right.
So I mean, there's
It's
no just
interesting that the
open
change they made there
yourself. Like it,
is
fucking,
interesting. Yeah. Um, they've. I almost feel like they flipped Sidene, like the way that Sidene and Sidar behave. Not necessarily the grasping and embracing thing, but like Logain saw a glow around Rand, which was typically a female thing. And now they're talking about how men embrace and surrender, which is typically a female thing.
it's just
And females can't sense each other being able to channel, which we got told in this episode, like confirmed basically, which we'll talk about in a little bit, which is the other way around in the books. It's like they flipped them for some reason, and I don't know why.
I. Did you were asking the wrong person? I don't know why they've done 98% of what
I
they've
don't
done.
understand why they would flip the way that Sidene and Sidar work.
And another issue I had with Rand and Logain's interaction is Logain was still able to like see Rand channeling, even though Logain has been gentled.
That's true. Yeah, he should not have been able to see anything because he's been gentled.
Yes, like I had huge issue with that. So I had a huge issue with the way he was describing to Rand how he needs to control Satan, which would never work. Like no male channel would
Right.
ever be able to channel by doing what Logain said. And secondly, a person who's gentle or a man who's gentled or a man who cannot channel would not be able to see the amount of power that Rand was pulling on.
Right. No, I agree.
The whole thing, I don't know what point they were trying to prove, but for me, it did nothing
I don't either.
positive.
I do think the more that we see of Logain, the more I think I'm convinced that they've done away with Asmodean and that they're putting Logain in that spot. But I guess we'll see for sure
I
eventually.
started thinking that as soon as, um,
Oh yeah,
oh,
I thought it right away, but I feel like every time I see him,
As
they
soon
sort
as
of
Moraine
like
talked to Logain about it, I'm like, oh, yep, there's no Asmodean. This is,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm with you. I
Yep.
agree with you on that.
So Alana and Lan and the warders camp at a shrine
A
for the
monument to the
Forsaken, monument
Forsaken or
for the
something?
Forsaken. That's
Yeah.
weird. That's really weird. I don't really
That's
care, but
it's
fine.
something that doesn't exist in the books, A. Like this place
Well,
doesn't even
yeah,
fucking
but I don't care about
exist.
that. What I
Like
care about is
there would never be a shrine built to the Forsaken.
you
That's
don't know that.
not one that hadn't been destroyed thousands of years ago.
Well, there's some stuff that's still around from thousands of years ago.
There is, but nobody, no, with the white cloaks and with the white tower and all this other shit, they would not allow a shrine or a monument
True. They probably
glorifying the Forsaken
tear
to
it
be
down.
standing. It would have been destroyed thousands of years ago when they were sealed away.
Right. So, aside from that, they actually accuse Lan of being a dark friend.
They do. They do.
Alana knows better than that. A.
Obviously not.
Obviously not. But then he tells them that they know that Rand is the Dragon Reborn, or that they
They
found the
found
Dragon
the Dragon
Reborn,
Reborn, yes.
which I'm okay with. After Moraine, I think Alana was one of the first Aes Sedai in the books to find out
Swan.
as well. Huh?
Swan.
Well, besides Moraine and Swan, obviously, I'm not counting them. I mean, aside from the two of them, I think Alana was one of, if not the next person to find out. So,
um,
and then
I,
they gallivant off to find Swan, who is headed to Kyrian, I guess.
yeah, for unknown reasons.
Presumably, I'm assuming that Lan already knows that Moraine has told Swan that they found the dragon. What I don't know is what he want. Does he want to tell her that she's been stilled? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
That why Lan was wanting to find Swan. I was trying to figure that out for the past couple of days, and nothing really makes sense because we see Moraine is writing letters to Swan.
Right.
So
But Lan doesn't know that.
presumably she would have been doing this before she kicked Lan into the curb.
Hmm.
So if I don't know why Moraine would just now be getting around to writing letters saying, "Hey, we found the dragon and broke a fucking seal, and the
Well,
Forsaken are loose on
no,
the world."
I don't think Moraine's letter is about the dragon at all. I think it's about her.
And if it's not about the dragon, like why would Moraine not tell Swan that she found the dragon reborn?
She
Why
wouldn't.
would she leave that to Lan?
She wouldn't.
Again, that's
So
what I'm saying.
what
It doesn't make
what's
sense.
the
So
full contents of the letter? And what does Lan feel like he needs to tell Swan? Because obviously he's aware of the relationship between Moraine and Swan, right? And I'm sure that he knows that when they went off in the tower to do their in season one, I'm sure he knows that Moraine told Swan, "We think we found him." It just wasn't confirmed at that point. So
I, like I said, this whole story arc doesn't make any sense to me.
I have no idea. So since we're talking about Moraine and the letter, she wrote in the letter between telling Barthanes off about his sandwiches, which was really mean, that
Moraine
she's
is
been.
just Moraine is just a cold-hearted bitch, and
I don't like her.
I do not
I
like the
love
way.
her in the books so
Yes,
much. And I just, her
I
attitude in the show is just not, it's not Moraine.
no, I do not understand where they're going with this character. Like The
I don't
the
either.
character that's on the screen is not the character in the books at all.
Mm-mm. It's not. The rest of them are for the most part, thankfully. Um. So anyway, Maureen writes to Swan, or tries to write before she crumples up the paper, that she's been stilled.
Hmm.
Stilled is not fixable yet. Spoilers for many books down the road. You can't have just anybody fix her.
And I was also trying to remember back, like I believe when Ishamael and her had their encounter in the Eye of the World, like I thought he just shielded her.
Well, that's what I thought.
But shielding and stilling are two completely different things.
I agree.
So is she shielded or is she
Unless,
stilled?
well, here's my question. So, a woman who is shielded, she can feel the shield and she can feel Sidar beyond the shield. She just
If
can't
she's
get to
strong
it.
enough, she can break the shield.
Right. So, here's my question. If he shielded her with the true power, maybe that's more of a feeling of being stilled than shielded?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't know.
Because shielding is shielding, regardless of whether it's Sadar, Saden, or
Right, but she wouldn't be able
the true
to.
power.
I don't remember, how does it work when you're trying to pick apart a shield that was put on by somebody who channels the other half,
I don't think it's really picking it apart. So Rand is
or breaking
shielded.
it, I
Say
guess.
Rand is shielded by several Aes Sedai and Dumai's wells.
Right, and he busts through it.
Yeah,
So they can feel it.
he
Okay.
just
Yeah, you're right.
overpowers the shield. He just reaches out and just breaks
But I'm
each
wondering if
individual
if
shield.
they're I still wonder if it's a true power thing and it just feels different
I
than a
don't
normal
think it is
shield.
because it would still be it would just be a very powerful shield that no, she by herself would not be able to break a shield that was put on by one of the
No.
Forsaken because she's not as strong as one of the Forsaken.
No,
Any
of
of the
course not.
Forsaken.
But I'm trying
However,
to remember.
if she possessed an Angrel or saw Angrel, that would be she would be able to access enough power to overcome that shield,
Possibly.
regardless of whether he channeled Saden or the true power to put it on.
Right. Huh. I don't understand where they're taking her arc. Like,
I haven't
I,
understood it
I
for a
don't
long ass time
understand.
now. Like I haven't understood it till since midway through season 1. Like she's not Moraine. She's not.
Okay.
They can
Another
color that
question.
all they want, but she is not Moraine.
Slightly off topic. Um, Anaya's a blue? Marine says deliver this to Anaya Sedai of the Blue Lodge. I thought Anaya was a yellow.
I think she is.
A yellow?
Hmm.
Okay. In that case, I don't know. I could be wrong. Those it's the little things that make me happy and that also upset me. Um, so since we talked about Moraine and Lan, the Amerlin is in Kyrian.
No, Anaya
Or
is of the blue.
oh, she is. Okay, cool. I don't know why I thought she was yellow. Um,
Evidence suggests that she was at one time the blue Ajah first selector.
oh, I bet she was. Yep, that makes sense.
So she was a blue. Hey,
Yep.
they got one right.
Yay! Um, so Swan shows up in Kyrian with Lan. And presumably the person at the top of the stairs was the queen. Um, my question is, why does she have 14 Aes Sedai with her? Plus herself makes 15. You only need 13 Aes Sedai to do 98% of the stuff that they would want to do. Why do they have 15?
Yeah, and the breakdown of it didn't make a lot of sense either. Like I'd almost understand if you had, two sitters from each Ajah with you, but
Right.
that still doesn't
The
equate.
the scene went too fast. I didn't pay attention. I know the one brown was
I think
there,
I think there were several reds.
a
Like I
red.
think when Leandrin was walking away, I think Leandrin walked over to like another cluster of reds. I could be mistaken on that. I didn't pay
uh,
too terribly close attention, but I think when Leandrin walked away from her, she walked over to a couple more reds. So
I'm
there's
just
three reds, and you obviously don't have two sitters from each.
yeah, I'm still curious why 15 total, including Swan,
Hmm.
because they only need they can only use 13 because once you add another female, you have to put a male into the circle.
Hmm.
I guess we'll
Which is
find
not
out.
something that they'd be willing to do
No, not
at
yet,
this
anyways.
yeah, at this point they would not be willing to add in a male channeler to any circle that they had.
Right, right. So I guess do we want to talk about Rand and Matt and Min since we're in Kyrian?
I
Yeah,
detest
what
the
they're doing to Min.
character that they're making Min out to be. Min is
I know.
essentially a dark friend.
Drunk Dark Friend.
I mean, when you boil it down to just X's and O's, like Min is a dark friend. She made a deal with the Shadow.
Yep,
She is a dark friend.
basically. She just hasn't, to our knowledge,
Like,
actually
like
sworn herself over to
she
them.
might not have sworn oaths, but she has made a deal with the Shadow,
Right,
which, when you boil it down to the basics, equates her to a dark friend.
right. Although I'm not sure if she can't heal her visions. I don't know why. I mean, obviously he's manipulating her, but really? Um. So yeah, they're in the foregate. Um.
But yeah, Rand hears Matt gambling, goes over.
Yep.
They share a nice little
Matt was
embrace and
winning.
everything.
Matt was winning.
Yep.
Finally.
They share a nice little embrace. First time that Rand has seen Matt in quite some time.
Yep.
Cause we
Rand presumably tells him 90% of everything.
yeah, I mean he basically does it. He can channel. He's the Dragon Reborn and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he hasn't seen
Um.
everybody else in quite a while. He told everybody thinks he's dead, so on and so
Mhm.
forth.
Yep.
But they're gonna go free
Um.
Egwene.
Yep. They're gonna go help Egwene. Matt goes back to Min. Min's like, you can't go with him.
I see you stab him with that dagger of yours.
Yep. And then Rand tries to leave and gets stopped by Lan, who says the Amerlin's here and she wants to see ya.
Yeah. Not just Lan and every
Yeah,
other
and Alana and Warders.
every other warder in the city. I'm pretty sure was probably right there.
Probably. Not that they could stop him if he had any inkling what he was doing. Um, yeah, I like that we're getting more of Matt and Min, but I'm just kind of meh about it.
Yeah.
All right. Um, I guess we can hop over. I don't
Well,
want to talk about Egwene yet.
while we're
Um,
there, let's finish up Rand's story.
oh, yeah, so it starts Rand's whole arc in here starts in the world of dreams with Lanfer. By the way, I watched another video. It might have been Daniel Green. I don't remember. Um, mentioned that I agree. I do think Lanfear's been combined with Grendel. The outfit, the power in Teleron Riyadh, it makes sense to combine
Mokhedian
the
was the one that was
not to
strong in
combine them, but huh?
Mokhedian was the one that was strong in Teleron
Oh yeah,
Riyadh.
but her outfit is so Grendel.
Grandal was the one with that used compulsion all the fucking time.
Oh, that's right. Whatever. Her outfit is very Grendel, though. I think I agree with that they've combined Lanfair and Grendel.
But yeah, so we have several scenes with with Rand and Lanfear in the World of Dreams.
Yes.
Starts out and Lanfear tells Rand,
You have to
sh-
leave Moraine.
yeah, she's not gonna do anything. Next time she sees Moraine, she's gonna kill her.
I do like the interaction between them where Lanfair is basically like, you're an idiot. She's been manipulating you this entire time.
Right.
Um and he comes back and he asks her straight out and she's like, well, yeah, of course I did. How else was I going to get you into a room with Logain? But of course he doesn't see it that way.
Yeah, because Lanfear says, why would you end up in Carrion
Yeah,
in
right.
the same place where Logain is? Why is Logain not in the tower? And he asked
Yep,
Moraine
and
point
she
blank,
admits
and
it.
she said, "Yeah, well, I can't keep him in the tower. I'm trying to keep you away from the tower. So if he's in the tower, he can't help you."
Yep, I do think it's interesting that they've changed who's protecting Rand's dreams from Moraine, who obviously can't do it anymore, to Lanfear providing him protection from
So,
Ishamael taking over his dreams. Um, I thought that was it was okay. She does show him Egwene, or well, before this, Rand has a dream. Obviously, Lanfear stopped protecting it with Ishamael. Is this one of his little like dream bubble things like that happens at the end of the book series where they can create their own little like you know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't really know what else to call it.
Presumably like a it would be,
Like
but
he's controlling the dream.
he Rand goes into a dream. His Heron Mark blade is bloodied and all of his friends are dead.
Yep. And what's interesting is that Ishamael actually says straight up like you will go crazy and you will kill everybody you love.
Hmm.
And it was heavily implied in season 1 that Logain killed people that he loved. And we know that Lewis Theron killed, well, he was called Kinslayer. I mean, you know, but it's interesting that they've taken that one little like note that because the men are all supposed to go crazy differently. They don't all kill the people they love.
Right.
That was just Lewis Theron.
Well, probably not just Lews Theron, but Lews
Well,
Theron
right,
did it.
but he was certainly the most notorious.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Absolutely. Because like you said, his Lews Theron's name is Lews Theron Telamon, and after he went crazy and murdered his wife and his children, he was called Lews Theron Kinslayer.
yep, exactly.
So I mean,
Um,
and yes, men go crazy in different ways. Like some of them will just lose their shit in the middle of
some of
a
them see things.
village circle and just go nuts and torch everything. Some of them will hear voices, see things. Like it's not all the same.
Yep, yep. I did. It's a tiny thing, but I do like how Lanfear called Ishamael Ishi in Rand's dream.
I hated that.
Really, I loved it.
I hated that.
I loved it.
I
Why
absolutely hated
not?
it. No. I
Anyway, I liked
I
it.
but then, Lanfear goes back to protecting.
Yeah,
And
well,
another
she shows
thing,
him Egwene.
well, another thing I was thinking during that scene is, was Ishamael actually there? Or was that just Lan manipulating Rand into thinking that Lanfear is protecting his dreams?
No, I think she is.
I don't know. It
Well,
would be
because
a,
he
it
spent
would
that,
be
presumably, he spent that entire time in Kyrian not having bad dreams.
yes, and he also didn't know who Lanfear was at that time, so she probably was protecting his dreams at that time to keep Ishamael away. But now that Rand knows who Lanfear
That's
is,
true.
and Lanfear said, who's been protecting? I've been, keeping Ishamael away
That is
from you.
true.
And now all of
I
a
think it was
sudden,
him, though.
she has a chance to show it. Like I'm not saying that Ishamael wasn't there, but
I think it was.
it would be a very Lanfear thing
It would be.
if she was manipulating Rand into thinking that this was all Ishamael's doing, and she's gonna just jump in to
To
save
save the
him
day. Yeah.
right in front of Rand.
Yeah.
So I could
I
see it
think that was
either
definitely
way.
your tension, but I do think it was a Shemael that was actually
I
there.
could see it either way. I'm not like I'm split down the middle as to, do I think Ishamael was actually there, or do I think that was Lanfear putting Ishamael there so that she could come in and quote unquote protect
I
Rand?
don't
Like
think we'll ever know.
I really don't know, but either way,
Yep. She does take him to see Egwene. He sees that she's been collared. Obviously, this moves our story along and gives Rand a reason to get to Falm, which is fine. I do like um when he's it, asking for Egwene, and then she takes him to Egwene. You could see in like that hurt Lanfear a lot.
one you could
Like
tell
I don't
because
think that was that. I don't think that was a I'm faking being hurt Lanfear. Like it hurt her
it,
how much he loves Egwene.
it did, and you could definitely tell because Rand kneels down beside Egwene, and obviously it's in the dream world, so it's not in the waking world. But when Rand reaches out to touch Egwene's cheek, like that's
And
when
she pulls him out of the
Lanfer pulls
dream.
him away because Lanfer's not about to see her man putting his hands, you know,
I know, right? Yeah, she that hurt her
like
a
you
bit.
you definitely got that feeling of no, like you can fucking see her, but you ain't touching.
Yep. Yep. All right. Anything else about Rand?
Um,
I think we got everything.
he's still wearing his sword, completely ridiculous.
They're not going to change it.
I know, and it's stupid. Amazon, for the love of God, give him a sword belt. I implore you, just simple thing, sword belt. It's a belt, goes around your waist, carries a sword in it. Okay, that
Moving
was
on.
that was my plea.
Let's go to Falm. Where we've got Elaine, Nynaeve, Rima, and Warder. Um, Elaine and Nynaeve are fighting, which they do.
How how easy is it to convince an Aes Sedai that somebody else is a black?
Apparently, very
It
easy,
literally takes two runaways saying, "I this bitch lied." I don't know what to say. Oh, yeah, I mean, there was they
right?
didn't question anything.
Why would you believe Elaine and
Two
Nynaeve?
two runaways.
Two
Two
runaway
get
novices. Well, a
well,
runaway novice and a runaway accepted.
but two women who are out of the tower that should not be out of the tower that have essentially ran away from the tower.
Exactly.
You have them in your possession, and you ask, why the
And
hell
you're gonna believe them?
aren't you there? Like,
They
and
haven't sworn the oaths.
all they have to do is mention one Aes Sedai and say this lady broke the three oaths. That's why we're here.
I know.
And
It's
just
weird.
immediately, without questioning, it's like, oh well, the black exists. Well, we're fucked, ain't
I
we?
do I do I didn't actually think of that, but I do have a concern with it, partially because in the books, the Aes Sedai spend so much time up until the point where Egwene is like, "No, this is how it is," and starts lobbing heads. Um,
They deny the
they
existence of the
deny it
black.
vehemently
Yes, I
all the
mean,
way up until like what is it, book 11 or 12?
anybody who mentions the Black Ajah is just instantly just ran through almost.
Exactly.
I
And
mean,
now they're convincing everybody without hardly any work having to be put into
I,
it.
I know, and that, like I said, because in the books, Swan does know that the black exists. Like
Well, of
she,
course.
she does believe that the black exists, and she sends the three girls, Egwene, Elaine, and Nynaeve, like she tasks them with finding the Black Ajah.
Yes.
But it's
But
very,
Swan
very
is
hush hush. It's very on the low
one
down.
person.
Like it's very on the low down. Like it's not something that's broadcast throughout the tower. Like, hey, we're looking for the black. So if you're a black sister, watch your back.
It
Like,
almost makes me wonder if the Amerlins have a sort of, well, I know they do because they say it in the books, but they have information that's passed like Amerlin to Amerlin through notes and records and stuff that nobody else gets to see.
oh, I'm
Because
sure.
Elida also knew that there was Black Aja
Hmm.
and sent a wit did a witch hunt for them too. So I'm wondering if that knowledge of yes, they actually exist gets passed through Amerlins.
So, but it like we know that the Black Ajah exists. But in the books, the White Tower denies its existence for so long, and
Right. And they're not going to believe a couple of girls
they so strongly believe that it is impossible for the Black Ajah to, not just that they don't exist, but that it is an
that that the three
impossibility.
oaths make it
It
impossible.
it is not possible for there to be a Black Ajah. It is only simply something of stories. Like it is not something that can even possibly exist. And then you have two girls that just say, "This lady lied. She broke the three O's," and you don't question it. You don't look into it. Just immediately
Yeah,
said,
it's
"Well, the
just
black
not
exists." Like,
it's not quite right. So, moving on from that, they find out that Rima has an Adom
yes.
that they can play with. Uh, Nynaeve blasting holes into things. I I like that they were trying to manipulate it and figure out how it works and all of that kind of stuff. What upset me was that Nynaeve, in her little mini blast thing, whatever she did, is the one who said that that the Adam needed to be healed, and in order to do that, it had to be around a woman's neck instead of giving some sort of revelation about it to Elaine, because Elaine's the one who should have clicked it, you know. Maybe not figured it out in this episode, but she's the one who should have been been the one starting to figure things
But
out.
and during all this, like I was trying to remember back to the books, and I don't think that like the adult, like I think it literally is just a collar that like clips and unclips.
I don't remember.
Like I don't think there's anything special about it. The only
I
thing
want to
special
say
about
that
it
you're
is like you
correct.
can't take it off your own neck. Like the adult prevents you from doing it. But there's been nothing like if you had one on your neck, there's nothing preventing me from going up and uncollaring you. Like I can't remember for sure, but I don't think it was anything super cryptic or anything like what they're talking about.
I don't think it was as easy as just a clasp, like a necklace clasp, but it wasn't as hard as they're making it either. It was somewhere in between.
And it's not something that has to be healed.
No,
Like that doesn't
no.
even make sense.
Why are
Like
you why are you taking Elaine's thing that makes her special
yeah.
away from her?
So
That's what I
so
felt like they did. Was that they took something, they're taking Elaine's thing away from her.
so again, these are spoilers for
Yes.
later on. So
Spoilers.
if you don't want to hear this, you might want to skip ahead a couple minutes. Like Nynaeve has the talent for healing. Like
Right.
she heals things later on in the books that people thought impossible to heal. Not death, because death is impossible to heal, but
Right.
like gentling and stilling and madness. Like she
Mhm.
cures the madness. She
Which is
figures out
crazy.
how to do that. Uh,
Um
but
Elaine
Elaine like is talented.
with Tarangreal,
Yeah, not just Tarangreal, but any
but all
Angreal.
on Grail.
Yeah, like
Objects of the one power.
yeah, being able to
Create
replicate
them,
them, maybe
replicate them, understand what they do.
not perfectly, because there are flaws in what she does, because these
Well,
things
she's
are
still learning.
thousands of years old, and it's a talent that's been lost for thousands of years. So she doesn't have a
Right.
teacher or anything like that. So we would presume that
She's gonna make
after
mistakes.
after the books, when she's in her old age and has been doing this for an entire lifetime, she's probably much better at it than what she is, you know, after having
Yeah.
been a novice for 3 days. But still,
But the point being is
this
Elaine
is something that
probing
she would understand. Maybe not understand, but it
Elaine
would
probing the Idom with the one power should have told her a lot more about it
than
than
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve random blasting whatever it was, saying it needed to be healed.
Yeah, and there's no way that in that, like, because it was literally just an instantaneous burst of power that went into it, that you'd been
Yeah.
able to tell anything.
No.
Like, there's no delving there. Like, you just almost blew that fucking thing up. Like, you can't say, well, yeah, it probably does need to be healed because you almost broke it, lady. Like, but
Yeah.
that's it,
Whereas again, Elaine probing it, she should have gotten more information than Nynaeve did. I
absolutely.
was a little upset.
I was a lot upset, and it wasn't just that Elaine didn't get anything out of it when she was the one actually channeling into it and delving into this ancient artifact essentially. But
Mhm.
then Nynaeve, like I said, it was just an instantaneous, just quick as a snap. And it's like, it needs to be
Yep.
healed. It has to be put around somebody's neck. Like, you cannot tell me you got all that out of,
A
three
mini
mil
blast of air.
3 milliseconds of being in contact with that thing with the one power. Like, that's
I know.
no, that
I
doesn't
know.
make any sense.
I know. So, um Rima makes a comment about how the Suldam have a demone, we talked about this a little bit, that can sense when other women are channeling. Now, in the books, obviously, every woman can sense when every other female channeler is channeling, as long as they're in either it's strong enough or they're in a close enough proximity.
Right.
In the books, we know, obviously, later in the books, somebody channels so immensely that I said I can feel it all over the world.
Correct.
But typically, for little things like heating up water and stuff, you have to be like within, I don't know, maybe 25 feet. but still,
And you're not going to be able to just,
they're
well,
supposed to
you
all
probably
be
would,
able
never
to
mind.
feel that, not just some magical
Right.
demone.
With a fucking pacifier.
So, again, this goes to the flip flopping of the male female because they've set it up so that males, anytime a man channels, other men can feel it,
And the other issue I
which is
have with
not
this,
how it is in the books.
the other issue I have with this specific incident is that the demone gets pulled to this area or whatever because Nynaeve channels too much into this Adam. Again,
Yes.
she does it for milliseconds. Milliseconds. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way in hell that that demone would be able to go straight
Well,
to that
yeah,
house and know
there
exactly
is.
where that. No,
There is.
no.
Well, if it works like it works in the books,
If
yeah.
she continued to channel at that strength, absolutely. But for those 2 milliseconds that she channeled, there's no
Well, the
way in hell
Damani
that
would have felt something, but I don't know if she would have been able
yes,
to pinpoint it.
and that's what I'm saying. She would have felt somebody channel. Like she would have
Yeah.
known somebody channeled. I'm not arguing that, but she would not have been able to walk all the way up to that house and be like, "It came from up there in the attic." Like, no, that ain't how that works, bitch. None of that is how that works. That's was the point I was getting to. Yes, she
Yes.
she would have felt somebody channel. No argument about that. But to go back and track it down and pinpoint where these 2 milliseconds of channeling came from, no way in fuck. You ain't selling me that story. Ain't
Yep. So anyway, yeah. The Suldam and the Damane find them. Rima and her warder go out into the streets and they fight the Shanshan, and they lose. And Rima gets collared. No surprise there. They did do a number to a couple of Suldam and Damane though, which was cool.
I'm I
I
know
like the fight scene.
the
It was a good fight
second
scene.
Suldam that got essentially like folded up like a lawn chair. Did her Damane die?
I think so.
I can't remember for sure. I don't remember actually seeing the Damane die. It might have. I'm not saying it didn't, but if it didn't, I have an issue with that.
They they have implied at the earlier in this episode when Rena was talking to Egwene, she did kind of imply that a Demane would feel a Suldam's death and basically die with her.
Well, anything that
It
happens
was
to Sold,
implied.
well, and she basically says anything that happens to the Soldam, the domain feels
Right,
twice
which is
as much.
accurate to the books.
So if a Soldam gets folded in half, like the Damane is gonna feel that
Feel that.
two
Right, but
times over.
nothing actually physically happens to her, but the pain itself, I mean, theoretically it could be enough to kill somebody.
Like,
Just cuz
absolutely.
your body and your brain couldn't handle it.
Did you see what happened to that lady? Could you imagine like the pain that you
Being
would feel?
attached to her. I know,
Yeah, no,
right?
that is definitely enough pain that you're dead. Like
Oh yeah,
just from pain
the pain.
tolerance. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no way in hell you survive that.
I agree. I did enjoy the fight sequence. I thought it was great. Um no complaints. I just poor Nynaeve and Elaine just sitting up there up in the attic looking out the window.
Yeah. Nynaeve wanting to help and Elaine saying you can't. Like if you help her, we can't help Egwene.
Yep, which sucks, but is true.
Hmm.
So, Egwene, easily the character who this episode was about.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Um, the cold open is Egwene and Rena getting introduced to each other, and we start learning about what they've done to her.
Yep.
That she can't hurt Rena, she can't touch the bracelet, she can't think of anything as a
She
weapon to
can't
be
touch
used against a Suldam.
she can't touch the collar, she can't
She
touch the
can't touch the
bracelet,
collar.
she can't hurt Rena, she can't
She
do
can't even punch
anything
her.
with any item that
Yep,
would. Now the I
without
don't
feeling agonizing pain.
now all of this is very very true to the books
It is. It's extremely true to the
except
books.
for the pitcher of water.
I I don't. remember if
I,
that's in the
I,
books or not.
I don't believe that that is because I don't think that the Adam would work to where you're like, I'm thinking about
It
hitting somebody with this pitcher
you
so
know
I
it
can't
is.
grab it.
It
Like,
is. That's yeah, it's accurate.
well, right, but I just, like, it would stop her. Like, she wouldn't be able to use it as a weapon. Like, I'm not saying that, but, you know what I mean? Like Egwene would never be able to pick up a pitcher and smack Ren in the face with it, or whatever. You know what?
Right.
Like I agree with that thoroughly, but I don't think it works. Like I'm thinking about I could do that, so I just go through immense pain reaching for. Like I don't necessarily
Mm,
know. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. I like the way they did it though.
But
I'm
they
not upset by
essentially
it.
use that to break her.
Yes, they use water, something so simple, a basic human need, to break Egwene.
If her
Um,
name is still Egwene, next episode I will throw
I
an
do. I really hope that they
absolute.
change it
I will
to
throw a
what's
fucking
the name that they
fit.
gave her in the books?
Thule.
Thule. I do hope they change it to Thule.
So the
Um,
Damane and the Suldam Rena makes it very clear in this that she is not a woman. She is a
yes.
Damane.
That she is a demone, and in fact, in their at the end of their very first interaction with each other, she pets Egwene like a dog.
And that's essentially, and even in the books, they're essentially
They're
considered animals, pets.
yes,
They,
yep.
they are not
They're
human. They are not
incredibly
women.
expensive, well
Yes,
cared for pets, but they are pets.
yes. And yeah, they essentially strip all humanity away from them. They make
Yep.
them believe that they are pets. They make them believe that they are not human, that they are not woman anymore. And they change their name. They give them a new name.
They give
They
them a
they
pet name.
they are not allowed to
Yep.
keep their name. They are given a new name. And in the
Yep.
books, Egwene's name that she is given is Thule.
Yep.
One of the very first things that Rena does to Egwene once she essentially tortures the fuck out of her to get her name out of her, Egwene tells her name is Egwene. And she goes, "Oh, that's almost pretty. You can keep it." Dude, I almost threw my phone across the room. Literally almost threw my phone across the fucking room when I heard that. I was
I
so pissed.
yeah. I do hope that they change it like in the next episode or two. I did
Cause I,
like the tree.
because I believe in the books during that first interaction that we really see between Rena and Egwene alone, like Rena says, "Oh, your new name is Thule. What's your
See,
name?" And it's kind
I
of, well,
actually
my name's
disagree with you. I think Rena let her keep it for a couple days.
I don't think she did, because
I think she did.
I think that's how
We'll
she
have to.
tortured Egwene to begin with. Is she kept asking her, "What's your name?" And Egwene kept saying Egwene, and she tortured her until she said her name was
Oh,
Thule.
that's right. That is right. Hmm. Yeah.
So it wasn't the pour me water. It's what's your name? What's your name? And
True. I
that's
like
how
the
she
water
broke
though.
Egwene. So I mean,
I
it's
like the water. I like that they had her set the tree on fire. That is straight from the books. Obviously, the tree in the books is much farther away, but pulled straight from the books. I enjoyed that. I
and
really
they
liked.
it also gives us a little bit of insight into Egwene's talent, which is
Yes.
delving into the earth.
Earth, specifically not human delving like
Right, but into
yellows
the
and,
earth,
and
like for
healers.
ore and stuff like that.
She can delve into the earth for ore, and I really did. I noticed in her channeling they did have red and green, so that she was doing both earth and fire.
Hmm.
Um, and Egwene is special because of in that regard. Not only is she strong, but earth and fire are typically male strengths
Hmm.
for the power. Women are not particularly strong in them usually, and Egwene is. So I did notice that. I really enjoyed that. I know they didn't mention it specifically, but it was
Well,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, they didn't mention it specifically, but when she said, feel for its roots, feel deeper, and all that stuff, like I, I
It was
under
nice. I enjoyed it.
having read the books, I knew what they were implying there, so I did appreciate
Yep,
that.
I did as well.
Probably the only thing
Um,
in this entire episode that I did appreciate was the little mini delving she did into the roots of that tree before she
I liked it.
set it aflame. That's
I liked it a lot. Um, it is interesting that Rena makes the comment about how special Egwene is, and that she hopes that the tower treated her like she was special, and that's when Egwene's brain starts to sort of turn, because she goes, "Oh, no, the White Tower didn't do that. I was invisible." Right? So, and you could kind of see it in her eyes a little bit, like the switch was starting to happen, um because Rena actually cares about her, which was interesting. Um Still can't pour the water after that though,
Nope.
unfortunately. And
Which
she gets beaten.
pisses
Um
off Rena immensely. Like, I mean, she kicks the dog shit out of
yep. And
Egwene.
I'm actually okay. I know that the Suldam in the books don't physically abuse
No,
the
they do.
demone
They do all of it through the
through the
Adam.
item, but I'm okay with her with them choosing to do it this way because making Egwene feel like she's getting kicked or feel like she's getting switched and all that through the Adom would be difficult to put on screen. I'm okay with her physically beating
Not
her.
really, because look at all the other shit that we see. The pain
That's true.
that she
That
they
is true.
the rest of it's done through the Adam. Like when she can't pick up the water, when she reaches for the collar, when she reaches for the bracelet, all of that is shown.
That's
So
true.
so why can't we get the same? Like there's
I
no
don't know.
reason to add in the physical
I
violence
think
because
maybe it
it's
was like I don't know, maybe Rena was just needing to kick something, I guess. I don't know.
and
Um
another question I had about Rena was, did Rena pick up Egwene and hang her on the wall without using the power? I call bullshit. So with one hand, this girl is just going to reach out and
no,
pick
Rena
up a,
is bigger than Egwene.
okay, she would have to be like fucking Mike Tyson size in order to just reach out with one hand and pick up somebody else that's Egwene's size and just hang her from the wall. She is not
I
much bigger
don't
than
disagree
Egwene.
with you,
That was absolute horseshit.
but I liked it.
If she did that without the power, that is absolute horseshit.
She can't do it with the power, so because she
She
can't
could.
channel on her own.
She could do it with the power.
She could, but she'd have to be taught how. Um, I yes, was it
That
a
was
little
fucking.
unrealistic?
It was a
Yes. Did I like it?
It's a
Yes.
1000% unrealistic. Like
I
there's,
liked it though.
I would never, not even in the realm of possibility.
Well, either way, that particular instance, Rana leaving Egwene hanging on a wall until she's basically a millisecond from passing out, from lack of oxygen, uh, breaks Egwene. And I gotta hand it to Madeline. The look on her face doing the acting when she touched the picture was just the fact that she was able to convey the utter relief at being able to touch it and the absolute horror of the knowledge of why she could touch it at the same time was great. Do you agree?
Yeah, yeah, you could definitely see that, she realized at that point she was broken.
Yes.
Like
And
there's no question about that.
but at the same time she was completely relieved that it was over. So I thought it was great. And then of course she downs the entire pitcher.
And
So
then
I
we
think that's it, right?
we get to sit her right next door to her saying, you lasted longer than I did.
Oh, that's right. So Mygon, sitter for the Blue Aja, is next door. Um, I don't remember if Mygon gets captured in the books or not.
I don't I believe they do make mention that a full Aes Sedai was captured, but I
Yes,
could be mistaken. I don't believe
at
they ever
least one.
said if she was a sitter or anything like that.
I don't remember either.
But I do
Oh,
believe that they make mention that they have caught full sisters from the Aes Sedai that were
mm-hmm.
now Damane.
And Rena pouring out the water. That was so cruel. But mm, I enjoyed all of Egwene's scenes in this episode. I know you had issues, but I thought they were great.
Like I
I
said,
thought the
I
way that
can
she's being treated is very true to the books.
I can appreciate the fact that we get a sense of her delving. Hopefully they continue with that and express it a little bit more because that is kind of a big portion of Egwene's training
It
when she's
is.
with the Shanshan is the delving and stuff like that. So the
Well, it's not only that, but and Rena makes mention of this is that the Shan want her to use her full power
right, they don't want
right
her to
off
be
the
limited.
bat. They don't
Right.
want her to hold back like the tower does.
Everything
Which
else,
is accurate because that catapults Egwene way past other novices and people who she's on par with before she gets captured by the Shanshan. So it's nice that they're pulling that in because it's such an important piece of Egwene's arc.
but everything else, like fucking hanging her from the wall and kicking her, like all that's just nonsense.
I don't
It
know.
is garbage. It,
I do think
her keeping her name is completely fucking ridiculous.
Yep. I do think issues with the actual content itself and its relation to the Wheel of Time aside, um the episodes are getting better. The directing is better, the writing is better, the script is better, the acting is getting better, the pacing is better.
The stories fucking suck. The
I
acting,
didn't I said aside from the obvious issues where it deviates from the books,
where
looking at it
we
just
start
as a
out like
television show, it is improving.
we started like if this is the book, like the show started doing this at like episode 1 and we're like so fucking far over there and then traveling further beyond that direction every episode is beyond belief.
Right, but
Like
if you look at it
every episode they do
objectively,
something even more stupid than they did last time.
if you look at it objectively, just as a TV show, it's getting better.
Since I've read the books, I will completely disagree with that.
That's
If
fine.
I didn't
You
know
can
shit
disagree.
if I didn't know shit about the Wheel of Time and was just watching this and didn't know any better, maybe. But having read the books and knowing that they are
I
completely
think
fucking
the
destroying this,
overall
it's complete garbage.
yes, but I do think that the overall they're getting better with the story and the not in relation to the Wheel of Time. I meant just the story as it appears on the screen and the pacing and the writing is directing. It's improving.
I can't
So
compartmentalize it like that.
I can.
I can't like when I know what the story is supposed to be and then they throw this bullshit on the screen every week and I just get more and more infuriated every
Well,
week.
I can compartmentalize.
I
It's getting
can't.
better.
Because every time I'm like, oh, well, this is about to happen. And then they do something just absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I just lose my mind.
Yeah.
Like I said, when
Well.
she said, oh, Egwene, that's almost pretty. You can keep it. I almost threw my fucking phone across the room. I was so incensed.
Oh, I do have to say, I really enjoyed the actress for Rena. I think she's doing a great job. I like her a lot.
Yeah, I have no complaints about that.
I
Just
like her.
the script that she's handed is trash.
Well, she can't do anything about that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not her fault. She's the actress herself is great in
I
that
think she's
role.
great. I
She's
really like her.
she's great in that role. It's not her fault that the people writing this fucking story never opened one of the books, so I can't fault her for that. I still to this
You're
point,
so terrible.
dude, to this point, I don't think half the writers know that the Wheel of Time that they're writing is actually based on a fucking book series. Like I think they're just pulling shit out of their ass.
I don't know. I don't honestly know the answer to that
Like
question.
I don't think half of them have opened a single one of the books.
Yeah.
They I don't think they ever heard of Robert Jordan.
Well, that might be going a little far.
Nah, if you're watching the same fucking bullshit I'm watching, you will realize that they
Hmm. Anyway, with that, I think we're gonna call it a night.
we will call it a night. All right, we will catch you
See you guys
guys
next
next
week.
week.